Okay, test today. So figured it'd be good to go over just a couple more of the tougher types of questions you're going to see. So both of these involve factoring, which is definitely a key thing. One of the things I'll tell you, every time you're involved with solving or breaking things down or whatever, you want to start with factoring. Graphing's cool, and graphing's useful in a lot of cases, but personally, if you start with factoring every time, you're going to be getting yourself in the right direction, especially for really everything on this test. So this problem even says, use factoring to determine the expressions. So there was a question like this on the quiz. I don't think it was about like a Doge cage. And it wanted you to just factor this basically to get it into its factored form or get its expressions. So not exceptionally difficult. Really, we just take the GCF of x out of this. So after we do that, all the x's just go down by one, one power. And then we look at this and we say, are there factors of 8 that could add to -6? And yes, there are. You could use -4 and -2. So we can get this into completely factored form. And these would be the possible dimensions. It could be the length, the width, and the height, or whatever order. It doesn't matter which one you're calling which, but those are the three possible dimensions based off this problem getting factored. And that's it. You're not solving this problem. It just says determine the expressions, these three expressions or factors. Now this problem says what are the real and complex zeros? Now we're solving. We want the solutions to this. Again, I start with the GCF if it has one. This one does. It's just like the last problem, you can pull an x out of it. When I do that, this time though, there are no factors of 8 that'll ever add to -4. So I cannot factor it. So at this point, I kind of step back and I go, well, what should I do from here? Well, I know one solution for sure. It has a real solution at 0. I know that. So as I'm kind of writing down my solutions, I'm like, well, I definitely have 0. That's one of my 3 answers. And again, I know there's 3 because it's cubed. So the 4th power, there'd be 4. 5th power, there'd be 5, so on and so forth. So I'm still on the hunt for 2 more solutions. And pretty much what we run into here is you can graph this if you want, but I'm telling you, if the problem's talking about complex zeros, it's probably going to have imaginary zeros, and you're going to get those from the quadratic formula. So we're going to take this and put it in the quadratic formula. So we go opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we simplify that out. So what do we get here? So this will be 16 minus 32 is going to be a -16. Cool, this is good. So this one's a perfect square. We actually haven't seen one of these in a couple days, so good one to talk about. 16 does square root. -16 is going to square root to 4i, though. So we're going to get 4 plus or minus 4i over 2. And also nicely, those are both divisible by 2. The one on the quiz really didn't simplify like this, so this gives you kind of another example of what you can see. These do both divide by 2, so your real answer is 2 plus or minus 2i. So you can write this as your other 2 solutions, or if you want to write them as 2 separate values, you can do that too. You can write it as 2 plus 2i and 2 minus the 2i. But if you want to write it like this too, they both would be acceptable. So it's just basically indicating that you understand there are 3 solutions. 0, and then these 2 imaginary solutions. So yeah, on the test today, take your time with stuff. Anytime you're solving, start with factoring, and then from there, you can go to graphing if you need to. You can go to quadratic formula if you need to. But trust me on the starting with factoring part, it's going to always try to factor it completely, because once it does, if you had to solve this problem, this would be a super easy one to solve. You'd be like, oh, 0, 4, 2. Boom, you'd be done. So that's kind of my recommendation on those. Aside from the test, next week we basically have the NWA we need to take, and then we're going to be doing exam review and getting ready for the exam, and that'll be pretty much it. So good luck on the test.